And honestly, if you listen to this podcast long enough, you can build a business from this podcast. I have no doubt in my mind about that. As long as you're not doing much fulfillment, I'm not doing like construction SOPs and stuff like that, right? I'm not doing the actual service SOPs and stuff. But it would not be hard to put together after you put together a sales program. You'd be able to put together the marketing division, the fulfillment division, even the finance division. You'd be able to put that together too because you understand how a process works now. You understand the stages, you understand the steps in between and how to put them together. And that's how this stuff works. And that's how businesses scale on systems like this.
Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. I'm going to update you on all things BGST. Obviously, the top of the news right now is going to be our event. We are officially less than 30 days away from the Building Great Sales Teams 24 event. We're having it here in San Antonio, Texas at Rebel Church. I'm incredibly excited about it. It is going to be a fantastic event. I love this church's layout. They rent out their space for events like this, and we're talking like 5 or 6 foot high stage. Beautiful seating, studio set up in the back, and a VIP room. I'm incredibly excited about it. It came at a super reasonable price because it's not a venue space where I got to go in and build a stage and basically make it into mine. It's already set up for what I want to do. I'm excited about our speakers coming into town. I met with the panelists last week, and the subjects that they're going to be covering and presenting on are fantastic. We're going to be softballing them some questions that can really implement well for your different businesses and stuff. So if you have not gotten your ticket yet, go get that ticket. It's bgst24.com. And we've got tickets from $47 for streaming all the way up to $2,500. And that's going to be the platinum. That's going to be the platinum dinner. That's going to be the workshop the next day. I want you guys to leave here with a sales program build, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the sales flow. I'm so excited about this. I can't believe I haven't done this yet. This I believe I want to check. I'm going to check right now because I don't want to lie to you guys, but I believe this is going to be up there. I want to say, let's see, what episode is this going to be? Let me go to the actual show. All right, so we just released number. You're not going to give me the episode number. What number is this? I do not know. Mark Forster just came out. Anyways, it's like 297 or something like that, right? And so hopefully this is close to 300. But anyways, we're so close to 300, but I have not gone through a sales flow with you guys yet. So I'm incredibly excited about this one. But back to the news, right? And so I've been doing a few things. If you follow me on Facebook, you know that I recently reached capacity in terms of consulting. I literally have back-to-back calls all day. I do not have time to take on one other client, which is why I'm so happy that I have so many resources for you guys to tap into, including this podcast, which I need to do a better job prioritizing. We only had one episode this week, and we're set up to have 2 next week, so we'll be fine on that. But I need to do a better job getting you guys solo episodes. Just the truth, just being honest. I'm falling short on this, and relying on guest episodes too much. And don't get me wrong, guest episodes are fantastic. They bring a whole another dynamic to this show where you're not just hearing my systems and process stuff over and over again. You're hearing their stories and everything that goes along with it, right? And so let's get into this. Um, there is a document that has become kind of the pinnacle of the sales program builds that I'm doing. And it's become more and more apparent that I need this document in every sales program build I do. And it's really cool because it gives you that 10,000 foot view of your sales process, right? Everybody knows what an SOP is, but the sales flow is a little different. And I want to show you guys an example of this. And just to kind of back up a little bit, obviously I'm doing the consulting. Obviously we've got the podcast going on here. You guys may or may not know about the business that I'm partnering with Breed Logon, and that's podcast partners. That's going well. That's on autopilot. My team there is doing a great job. And so those are the three main things. And then, as you guys know, and I may have told you, I started coaching for Win Rate a couple months ago, and I focus on their Small Business Academy group. So this is a entry level group that basically, and it's a mix. It's a mix of multi-million-dollar businesses, six-figure businesses, new business owners, veteran business owner. It's a mix. It's a great mix because everybody shares with each other. But I facilitate the group and I coach the group and I come with subject matter. And it is typically around sales programs because I want to make sure I'm only talking about what I know, right? And I love that group. And so we've been doing that for a couple of months now. And that's kind of like my entry into coaching for Win Rate Consulting. And recently we have, Win Rate opened up what's called a bolt-on package, right? And so what they are very good at is one-on-one coaching. And coaching is completely different from consulting. Coaching is very much to the owner of the company. And sometimes we're coaching in the personal life, sometimes we're coaching in the business life, right? Consulting is a little different. Consulting is doing the actual work. So it's what we call done for you in my space. And that's 90% of my work is done for you. And so the win rate, seeing the advantage of bringing that in. Adam McChesney's another bolt-on package. He's doing marketing for as a bolt-on for win rate. And so they're bringing us in to do these bolt-on packages, and they are just selling like hotcakes, to be honest. Because when you mainly do one-on-one coaching, you've got to go and do the work yourself. That's what coaching's all about. It's very high level, um, very little actual done for you. So the bolt-ons that I'm doing are, as you guessed it, sales programs, right? And where the clients have the biggest wow factor is when I build them the sales flow and they get to see their process laid out visually. Now, it's not just the existing process, it's also going to be the the one that I want to build out for them. Okay. And what's cool about this is it's incredibly simple. It's in Google Draw, guys. I do this in Google Draw. And I do that on purpose because my 10-year-old can use Google Draw. Okay. And so I'm gonna walk you guys through this real quick. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna do my best to walk you guys through it verbally. So if you are able to go to YouTube and check out this episode, if you're not able to, take notes mentally or on paper, but either way, this is going to be one of those tactical episodes that hopefully you know and love. If you're more about the guest episodes and the story and stuff like that, sorry to let you down, but this is going to be something you can actually execute on fairly quickly. So I'll walk you guys through this. All right, so this is the sales flow. I'm gonna make this a little bigger for you guys. I think yeah, that might be a little better. Let's try this one. Perfect. Okay. All right. So the sales flow again is the wide shot of your sales process. Okay. And the first section that you're going to think about is the stages. All right. The way that I typically set up stages, it changes with every client because every client likes different terminology. Terminology is subjective and dependent on the business, right? But the one that doesn't really change is the source. Okay. The source is the source of the leads. Where are they coming from? Right. And so for this particular one that we're using as a template, we've got walk-ins because this is I think I based this on a car wrap company. Right. And so they're selling B2B. but they do have people walk into their shops and want a car wrap. So we got walk-in, we got prospecting, right? Outbound. We got affiliates, people that get paid to bring us customers, and then we got existing. Okay. And existing are the existing clients and customers, right? And so that's the first stage. I'll break out the stages for you guys real quick. We got um, the source that they're coming from. We've got the appointment setting or sales module, right? And then we got the appointment set. Then in this case, we've got the estimate. Some of you guys may do proposals. Some of you guys may do site visits at the appointment or an in-home presentation. So that's where the stages change. We get into design, right? Because there's a design aspect to this stage, and then install, which I always say the install. There's only one box there because you got your own SOPs for installs. I'm doing the sales program, but we need to know, at what point are they doing the installs? Because after you do the installs, where the sales program kicks back up again, and where they're now a client, and that's the client stage, right? So this is broken into 7 total stages, very similar to what you would see like on Go High Level when you look at your sales pipeline. Okay. And then in that client stage, all right, and I'll go back to the source, right? So you could set this up any which way. I was working with a client this morning, and I'll flip over to that one. Let's see. There we go. So I was working with a client this morning. Oh, I need to share this tab instead. Okay. And they have marketing, they have social media, and then they have 3 different types of ways that they prospect: to partners, to architect, design, and GC firms, and then to boards like education, municipalities, and HOAs, right? And so this source can change depending on your business. And so, depending on your business, you may want to call that something different. But I'm going to go back to this other one because I feel like it's more applicable to more of your businesses if you do B2B, even residential. This is very applicable to residential. All right, so the first one is source. We're identifying, okay, where are we getting our leads from? The first one should always be the most common one. Anytime you're developing a sales program, don't start developing a sales program for sales that you get 10% of the time, 5% of the time. Develop the sales program around the sales you get 90% of the time. So if you get walk-ins 90% of the time, or you get referrals 90% of the time, or you have a longer sales cycle and they come from networking and stuff like that, start with that, right? So that's the source. Identify the source. That's a stage on its own, the identification of the source. And then the next one is typically going to be, okay, how are we obtaining that source? Prospecting is typically the next stage, right? So how do we get them from identifying them as our potential prospect or giving us a prospect to actually getting the actual prospect? So there's 3 ways in this business. There's the inside sales module, which is the walk-in. There's the outside sales module, which is a form of outbound prospecting and affiliates or referral partners. Then there's the existing customer, which we're going to use the existing sales module for that, right? So inside is going to be they're coming to us and they say they want our services. So there's a module for that, right? Outside, we're having to go and prompt them or impulse them into getting our services, right? And then existing client referral based um, is the existing sales module. So in a perfect world, we are going to be able to click on these modules, and then they're going to go to the actual module. Okay. So again, look at this as a legend, as a menu of SOPs for your sales process. Okay. So in the process, so we've got the stage, we've got the actual modules or the identification of the source throughout the stages, right? And so now we're in the prospecting stage. And as we go through these stages, each stage is going to have a tool or a software that we use to facilitate that stage. And so in the prospecting modules, we're going to use the fleet guide. The fleet guide shows us different vehicles and pricing for those subsequent vehicles, right? And then we're going to use Go High Level in this case. So this is a company that's using Go High Level, and understand that everybody uses different softwares, but typically you have a production and fulfillment software, and then you have a sales and marketing and CRM software. Every now and then people make one work, but most of the time, bigger companies have two, and that's okay. All right, so we've set the appointment. So you'll notice the inside sales module goes straight to the estimate stage. There's no appointment setting that has to happen. The outside sales module, I'm typically going to be prospecting first. I'm going to set the appointment. So that's the next stage, the appointment. Okay. And so if the appointment is set, I'm good to go. We're going to go into the estimate sales module, right? Where we're going to give them the estimate. If the appointment is not set, I'm gonna go into a no appointment set campaign. You guys can see that right here. That's what that's identifying, that no appointment set campaign. All right. And that's if, of course, the appointment is not set, then I go into that campaign. If the appointment is set and the estimate never happens, then it feeds back to the no appointment set campaign. Now, what does that even mean? Right? I'm having a little too much fun with you guys here. What does that even mean? All right. So I'm gonna pull up what I like to call a follow up campaign or a follow up. Let me get some stuff out of the way here for you guys. Sometimes Google Draw is finicky and it does some weird stuff. I'm trying to, okay, there we go. Got rid of it. All right, so let me move over to this one. All right, so this is again in Google Draw. And so I've got three sections here. No, oh, this one's site visit because this is for a different company, but no appointment campaign, a follow up campaign. So the appointment's been ran, and we need to follow up to get it to the sale, right? And then we got the client campaign. All right. So these are three levels, right? The in-home appointment was ran. We're going to follow up. No appointment was even set, but we have the lead. We're going to follow up. And then the client campaign. So if no appointment was set, we're probably going to send out an email within 12 hours. Then within 24 hours, maybe another email. And then within a day, we're going to have either our admin call, our call center call, or our salesperson call and follow up, and so on and so forth. And our whole goal with that no appointment campaign is to get the appointment set. Right. The next piece is the follow up campaign, which is we ran the appointment. They didn't like our price. They didn't like what we had to offer. And so now we're following up with them in phone calls, or maybe they're just, having decision, whatever the case is. We're following up with them with a combination of phone calls, emails, and tasks. And those tasks are for the salesperson to reach out, right? Because we've ran an appointment, they have familiarity with the salesperson, and now it's time to follow up on that. Okay, so let's go back to this sales flow, right? All right, so we're back on the sales flow. We've done the prospecting stage. We've used whatever software, whatever visuals to execute the prospecting stage, and now we're going into the appointment stage. The appointment is set. It's not set. That determines the follow-up campaign or whether we go into the estimate stage. Okay, the estimate is the actual execution of the appointment, or some people call it discovery, some people call it in-home appointments, whatever the case is. And so again, we're going back to identifying, are we using Zoom for this? Are we doing in person? Is this in the shop? Right. And then we're also identifying the software that's executing this, right? So you may have a measuring software that you're going to use, like an in-home appointment or something like that. Or and then you're able to measure, kind of put a proposal together maybe. So some businesses are able to do the appointment in home. Okay, one of the things I recommend when you do the appointment in the home and you have to do a design and come back to them later with a proposal is get a design fee, especially if you're doing a rendering. There's some artwork involved, right? Get a design fee. The reason we're getting the design fee is so that the customer has now done business with us, and they're a lot more likely inclined to close. Now, what they're going to say is, "Well, I don't want to spend any money. I still need to get other bids." Completely understand you need to get other bids. All I'm doing is charging you for the design, and you can take that design and give it to the other company, and now they don't have to do it, and they don't have to charge you a fee for that. So this design fee is universal. And what's nice about it, if they do want to shop around, they can take that design and proposal and shop it around all they want. But at least you got paid for doing the design and sourcing the equipment, material, whatever the case is, and giving a quote, right? Covered your cost at minimum. All right. So then they go into if they say no, I'm either decline or no response, and they go into a follow-up campaign. That follow-up campaign is specific to you as the salesperson, but it's also sending them email and text to help you with follow-up, right? And so we want to time that to make sure we're not sending all three at once. And if we time it that way, then they get a nice drip campaign, is what we call it. Maybe the next day, maybe they'll get an email from us. Hey, just reminding you, we're following up about your appointment. Wanted to make sure everything went okay. Is there any questions or concerns you had, right? And then the next day, maybe they get a text. Hey, following up on, or not following up. Hey, reviewing your proposal here. I'm about to send it out to you. Just wanted to give you a heads up to look for that in your email, right? And then the next piece would be, you calling and saying, hey, I just wanted to confirm you received the proposal. When would you like to get your install scheduled? Or how would you like to handle the deposit, whatever the case is. But again, this is SOP'd, and you put it into your CRM to execute these things, but do not forget the tasks to the salesperson to be able to execute that phone call, right? So that's the follow-up campaign. And then, all right, so they accept the proposal. Now we're going into design. Maybe we're doing a 2.0 design or something that's custom to them, whatever the case is. In this case, it's the car wrap, and they're doing the car. So that's the purpose of the design phase. If you didn't already do it in the estimate or proposal or in home phase, right? And so, like for solar, it's really easy to do the design in the home and then adjust after they do the site survey. All right, so we're in the design phase. They're either going to, and in this case, we're using Photoshop, and they're either going to accept or decline the design. If they decline, we're going to revise and get them a design that they like. And if they decline, usually they're not going to decline at this point because they've already paid a deposit or they've already paid the fee for the design, right? And so once they accept that design, then we're going to schedule install. We're going into the install phase, which is done by the install team. They are the software or the SOP that we're executing at that point. And then the next stage is the client, right? And that's where we go into the client campaign. That's like a nurture campaign. What's new at BGST this week? That's, some of you guys get my podcast email. That's called a nurture campaign, just keeping me top of mind. So when you do need my services, there's an email that comes through at least once a week, once a month, that reminds you that that is what I do, right? And so the next campaign that you're going to drop them into is a referral campaign. So this is very much reminding them like, hey, we live on referrals. We love referrals. We take the best care of referrals. And so if you have a referral, shoot it over to us. And then the last one is a testimonial, right? And so for your bigger clients, your bigger products, your happier clients, you want to do some in-person stuff for them. But it's always nice to have an email that goes out that prompts them to do a testimonial and records it right then and there. And so I got a fantastic friend that does a Go High Level add-on. She does the Go High Level build, right? Her agency is called Trust Keg. And basically within that build, there's a campaign that goes out and prompts customers for video testimonials and submits them and gives you your own reference web page that has a bunch of your customers with video testimonials, text testimonials, and then pushes them to Google reviews to give you Google review. It's a cool ass system. That is Amy Ball, AIMEEBALL. And if you're interested in something like that, hit her up for that. It's a fantastic product. She showed it to me some 3 years ago, and I have not been executing on it ever since, but I need to for sure. Okay. So that's the sales flow, right? We've got the source stage, we've got the prospecting stage, we got the appointment stage, estimate, design, install, and client. The next piece is you're going to list the softwares or the tools that you use in each of those stages. And then under that is going to be your modules, right? And so again, once you finish laying out your sales program, then the modules are going to go littered throughout these stages. And then you should be able to click on those. You should be able to click on these and see the SOPs for each section. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I wanted to show you guys today. This is This is sales process, probably like 3.0. The 1.0 is the script, overcoming objections, the simple stuff. The 2.0 is maybe training and onboarding, and the 3.0 is being able to zoom out and see the whole thing flow together, you know. And this is the kind of stuff that when a salesperson comes into a company and you have this laid out, you have compressed time so much. Because what's the first question they're going to ask when they make a sale? How do I process it? If there's an SOP in your sales guide on how to process that, then they already know how to process it. And maybe they can even whip that thing out in the moment and use it to process it, you know? And so this is 100% what we teach on this podcast. And this stuff just flows for me. I've been doing this 15 years now. And so if you did not understand everything that I went through, the stages, the tools and softwares, the modules, there is and I'll get the team to put it in the link. There is a tactical episode um, course that you can go through. It's all free. So that's one of the things that like I'm big on, right? I want you guys to be able to with for me to put enough value out there that you can compose my entire sales program for your company without ever talking to me. Right. And so initially it was the podcast, right? And you could piece it together. And then, I came out with the course, which I don't really push. Um, and I think I priced it at like 500 bucks or something like that. Right. But then I came out with a collection of podcast episodes that would put together a sales program if you listen to them all. And I think it's like 20 episodes or something like that, maybe 10 hours, you know. And then that subsequently ends up being the length of the course too. It's roughly like 5 hours or something like that because it's compressed. There's not a lot of stories and stuff in there. And so you guys are able to, with that podcast episode or with the YouTube collection or with the sales toolkit and the opportunity structure and this podcast content that I put together at course style, you guys are able to do it yourselves. So there's DIY, there's coaching, which is DIY also, but I mean, all right, coaching is more done with you. And then there's like a consulting piece, which is what I actually get paid for, which is done for you. But at the end of the day, there's enough out there for you guys. You don't have a dollar to your name to be able to build a sales program. And honestly, if you listen to this podcast long enough, you can build a business from this podcast. I have no doubt in my mind about that. As long as you're not doing much fulfillment, I'm not doing like construction SOPs and stuff like that, right? I'm not doing the actual service SOPs and stuff. But they would not be hard to put together after you put together a sales program. You'd be able to put together the marketing division, the fulfillment division, even the finance division. You'd be able to put that together too because you understand how a process works now. You understand the stages, you understand the steps in between and how to put them together. And that's how this stuff works. And that's how businesses scale on systems like this. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value from the sales flow. Reminder, shameless plug, Building Great Sales Teams 24 coming up July 12th. BGST24.com. Get your freaking tickets. We're going to stream. We're going to have in person, up to 100 people in person. And we are going to have a blast. My stuff's going to be boring. You know me, super tactical. But we got Mike Claudio coming, man. He's going to fire the room up. I already know this dude. He's just fantastic when it comes to this kind of stuff. And then we got Neil Kaiser coming, dude. Dude sold ownership in his company for 9 figures. And so he's doing kind of well right now, I think. So he's going to teach us how to exit a home service business and how to roll up to P&E or PE. And then we got Mark Bielick. Dude's got a massive sales team, recruited hundreds of people, managed hundreds of people, an amazing leader. Going to teach us how to lead big teams like that. We got panelists like Maria Curry, Adam Kramer, Warren Goldman, Gavin Giannis. So many amazing people for you guys to come check out. And so if you're interested, bgst24.com, check it out. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Please be sure to share. If you guys are following me on social media, share and like and comment. And let me know you're there. You know what I mean? It's funny how many people I connect with after have been listening to my podcast for years now, and I didn't see them like, comment, or share one thing. You know what I mean? But I'm so appreciative either way. Just you showing up and listening is the energy gets to me eventually. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you guys. And as always, let's get building.